Greetings, the Astro 30 here yet again, and welcome back to AEL. Now, if you're new to this channel, please consider going down below and subscribing if you haven't done so already. Cheers. Got another set of PCBs here today. They just arrived via Aramex, slow as a wet weekend. So, those are not relevant for what we're talking about today, but these are. This is the ETI-413 power amplifier module PCB that I routed, and I took a little bit of a different approach with this one, and I'll show you in a second once I've actually got one of the PCBs out of the bag. And there is one there. Now, as I said, I took a bit of a different approach to this, and you may not be able to see it. I can see it more clearer there. I've decided to add copper fills around some of the tracks on both the underside here and the top side, which is connected to the ground, so it's a ground plane for all intents and purposes, running most of the perimeter of the board. Obviously, where the transistors mount through the board through these holes is no copper fill. We don't want to bring, the transistors to ground, even though it wouldn't matter because the bracket itself that will sit on this top side mounts to the heatsink, which would be in contact with ground anyway. But you can't really see it on the top surface too well, but there is a copper fill all the way around as well. It's mainly because the silk screen sort of hides it. You may just be able to see where that PCBWay logo is, that you've got where this resistor is a track going that way to the fuse holder, but there's also this extra large track area here which goes in between it, and that's the ground plane. It was mostly an experimentation, but honestly it does help with limiting the amount of noise that the circuit picks up by having a ground plane running next to, say, signal lines. It acts like a shield basically. Other than that, there's not much to talk about. I need to go out and get a few more parts because I don't have them. The trimmer for one thing, and the fuses. I don't have the 3-amp fuses, or I do have 3-amp fuses, but they're being used by something else. So, you know the drill if you have watched this channel before. This will basically be assembled up in time-lapse, up to everything apart from the output stage, because for two reasons. One, I don't have the heatsink bracket suitable for this yet. I have to order it, and that won't be till the new year. This is, at the time of recording, the 19th of December, so it's not that far away from Christmas. And I also don't have the output transistors either. I'd have to order them from, say, DigiKey, or come up with another solution. Other than that, I'll do the assembly in time-lapse, and I'll show you what I've got when we come back from that. So right now, I'm going to go out and buy some parts, but you, in the next few seconds, can watch me assemble this thing. Well, the PCB is assembled for the most part, apart from the output stage, and is off to my right, ready for testing. We'll look at that in just a sec. But I just want to bring up one little point or issue that I noticed when I was assembling the resistors mainly. We've got this voltage divider here, comprised of this 2K2 and this 820 ohm resistor, across this BD139 transistor, which is the VBE multiplier, and there's a 1K trim pot hanging off the end of this 820 ohm, which then goes back to the emitter of here. Now, when I was going to put the components on the board, I tested all the resistors with a multimeter, so I knew what value was what, because I'm lazy and can't be bothered reading the damn bands. And I found I had a 2K7 resistor. And it's like, well, one isn't used in the circuit anywhere. In fact, there's only one 2K2, and that's it there. So for some reason, on the breadboard, I put a 2K7 there instead of a 2K2, which will affect the operation of that voltage divider. This may pose a biasing issue where it will not bias properly, if at all. That will remain to be testing. So what I can do is I can lower the value of this pot again to 500 ohm, which is, well, it's supposed to be 470 in the original schematic, but you can't get them anymore. 500 ohm will do. So rather than take the pot back out, I'll temporarily solder a 1K resistor across in parallel with it, which will effectively halve the resistance of that pot, and it will still adjust as if it was a trim pot, but except it's a 500 ohm trim pot now, technically speaking. So that'll be one thing I can do, and if that proves to fix the so-called bias issue I'm assuming we're going to have, there's always a design issue, then I'll just simply change the pot. And it's a good thing that I've actually just put part references on the silk screen of the PCB, not values, so it makes, you know, changing it easier. You just change the schematic and you don't have to redo the PCB. Alright, so let's have a look at the PCB now. Okay, I'm ready to test the power amplifier module out, and I want to know two things. One, what its DC offset is. It's just sitting on a piece of foam here. And if the bias adjusts. So I need to connect the multimeter across the output and ground. That didn't quite work out as well as I wanted it to. I've got a temporary output stage connected to that piece of aluminium L bracket plus the VBE multiplier transistor mounted to it. Just soldered at the points where the transistors would normally mount because, well, I don't have the bracket and I don't have the output transistors. Power supply is currently limited to 200 mA. And the bias pot is turned all the way down, and we're currently drawing 29 mA, which is okay. DC offset's good at -5 millivolts, so it's not that high. It's actually dropping off a bit as the amplifier starts to stabilize. That's due to both input transistors being matched HFE-wise to themselves, because there's no offset adjustment pot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if the bias adjusts, which I don't think it is actually going to adjust properly because of the fact I had a 2.7K in place of the 2.2K on the breadboard in the voltage divider there, which meant I had to actually increase the value of the 500 ohm pot to 1K to make it work. I didn't realise I picked up 2K7 instead of 2K2, is basically what I'm saying. I'm also not feeling the greatest lately. I've been feeling like absolute shit for a few weeks now, but that's really neither here nor there. So I'm going to get scared by the soldering iron beeping at me, and I'm going to turn the pot up. Not much appears to be happening, and I'm turning it quite far. And we're up to 35 mA, and it's not going up any further. Oh yeah, there it goes. 40 mA, 46, 70 mA. Oh, that seems fine. I was going to say that I was going to put a 1K fixed resistor across the back of this potentiometer to drop that to 500 ohms. But it seems to be adjusting. I thought it wasn't. Actually, I know why, because I was adjusting the pot with only the drivers connected and not the output stage. That could be why. Although most of the bias range seems to be right up the top of the pot, but it is, well, yeah, going up fairly high in bias. So I do have a resistor soldered across one side of the pot there. I'm just left the other side open. So I don't know if it's actually made contact again. I'll have a look after I turn it off. No, it's definitely not connected. So I might actually just completely unsolder that now. Because I was doing this off camera as a test just to see if I got a good bias adjustment range. Sorry about the focus. And I was, but it's kind of not necessary to have there anymore. So there's that. I'll just retouch up these joints and I will verify that it still works, and then I'll eventually trim off the excess lead length there. And I've got all of about 20 centimeters of solder remaining, so you know what that means. Son of a bitch! Ran out of solder. Lucky I have a new one. Alright, with that resistor removed, let's see where the bias is at. 35 mA. I did have that up around 40. And yeah, it's adjusting fine. So I'm going to leave that probably about 50 odd mA. That should be perfectly fine as an idle current. I don't see any need for it to be any higher than that. So this Frankenstein is working, so I've got to let that sit and stabilise for a few minutes and then readjust the bias again, because it is starting to creep up. As we can see, it's at 57 mA now. That's only because 58, because the transistor's in contact with the bracket. So I'll back that back off to around 50 mA. Let it sit for a few minutes, come back and check it. It's been about 5 minutes now, and the current has gone up to about 56 mA according to that. So I'll just back that off again, back down to 50. So it looks like the amplifier will not run any lower than 30 mA quiescent current at the low end, which is, you know, fine, I suppose, because of the design of the VBE multiplier. Those are not getting hot in any way, so if anything, it's remaining thermally stable, so it's not going into thermal runaway or anything stupid like that. So I guess the next burning question is, does it pass an audio signal? Well, let's hook it up to a dummy load and oscilloscope and function generator and find out. Amplifier is loaded into an 8 ohm dummy load. Current limit has been changed to 1.5 amps, which should be perfectly fine. Quiescent current, as it's cooled down, has fallen back to 35 mA, but it's going to slowly creep up. Function generator is running currently. And that is a big fat yes, we do have an output signal. And it reaches clipping, which is nice. 17.8 odd volt RMS, so around about 36 watts, something like that. It's actually more like 18.1. I'll say 18 volts is a round figure. I wasn't far off, 40 watts. So yeah, pretty good. So at the proper supply rail of 35 plus minus, it's going to produce close to 50 watts RMS into 8 ohms. And probably close to 70 into 4. I'm not going to bother loading it into 4 because A, the output stage is not complete, and B, I don't really see any point with the current transistors I'm using, which is the 2SC 5200 and the 2SA 1943, I think it is. So, all well and good. This little amplifier module is functioning. So, I'm going to release this video as it is, and then I'll pick this video up again with a new one when I actually get the bracket and the output transistors, and then complete construction then, and then do the full tests on it at that point. It looks like to me that the original circuit used a 470 ohm trimmer for the bias pot. You could probably use a 500 just fine, or you could use a 1K, which is what I'm doing. So all well and good, so that's great. I'm happy that that worked out, didn't explode. Bias does adjust. It didn't initially because I didn't have the output stage connected, I only had the VBE multiplier in, so I was only trying to bias the drivers, which, yeah, they're not going to consume much current anyway. So that's going to be it for this video. I know, I didn't do a sound test. Yes, I probably should do a sound test. In fact, why not? Alright, speaker is connected, and there's a bit of a buzz there. That's probably because of my wiring, etc. Let's play a track.